Hello, this is James Hunter, and welcome to my channel. I'm doing a video update for my Fitness in my 50s playlist series, where I'm going to be discussing my body composition goals and other measures of my fitness in my 50s will be in this playlist coming up for the going forward, remainder of the year and into next year. So in this video, I want to show where I'm at with losing body fat, leaning up, if you will. September 6, approximately 6.5 weeks ago, I intervened. I speak about in my videos essentially what I call having a threshold. I believe everyone needs to have a threshold, and basically what is that? You have a certain point of how far you let yourself go as far as if you're gaining weight, excess body fat in terms of your hip waist ratio, perhaps, if you want to look at it that way. World Health Organization speaks to hip waist ratios, right, as actually a better indicator in terms of being at risk for health issues. So the point is, you get the idea, threshold. So for me, what's helped me stay in reasonable shape and above average shape, especially for my demographic and age, 52 years old, I have maintained my level of fitness because of my threshold, a standard, if you will, that I have in my life for what I can feel comfortable with. So September 6th, I'll put a picture and video of September 6th up here, and you'll see where I was at 6.5 weeks ago. I was like, okay, it's time to do something. Yes, I'm working out in the gym. Yes, I'm strong and run, and my health is still good, but this is just something in terms of my standard. I'm like, nope, I'm getting a bit too fat again. I've actually been fatter in my 30s when I let myself go a bit, and so on. But this is where I'm at right now, is that I decided to intervene last month, 6.5 weeks ago. And I've done this throughout my 40s and 50s, where I work out, stay in shape. I've competed before, and I've had different approaches based on my goals. So right now, my goal is I'm not treating this like if I was preparing for a bodybuilding contest, doing like a very strict prep. And I'm going to talk about my diet today. So if you're interested in that, stay on this video, keep listening. In the past, when I've trained for a bodybuilding contest, very strict, and literally 12, 16 weeks, as early as 12 weeks, I'll be ripped, shredded, 4% body fat, 5%. And on my frame, that looks impressive. And I'll put some photos up here, show you what I'm talking about. So when I've been this lean before in the past, yeah, I was on a very strict diet. So essentially, my meats or protein sources would be lean chicken breast, egg whites, maybe codfish, very lean ground turkey. Pretty straightforward. I just eat those meats in my meals every week. I would keep my vegetables in terms of just things that had, were really safe to eat. There was not really a complex or net carb issue with them. Things like green beans, broccoli, squash, stuff like that, staple, maybe a pickle, something like that, cucumber, right? As far as complex carbohydrates, I would only allow myself moderate portions, white rice, sweet potato, and a carb cycling method. I didn't eat carbs every day. It was only on certain days when I felt I needed to take some in, no more, right, than I needed. Very strict, very adherent. That's me. I have no problem eating the same things over and over again. That's myself. I realize not everybody's like that. So I would do that if I'm training for a bodybuilding contest, because I'll take that a lot more serious. Now, right now, I'm not training for a bodybuilding contest. I'm still being serious about having a consistency way of my nutrition, but it's a bit more flexible. So what am I eating right now? Let me put a video up of my tank top up here to achieve this level of leanness, right? What am I doing to get this lean for my baseline photo in September where I was getting fat? What have I been doing? Well, my antidote, what's working for me, and then just some general truths of what I'll speak about work for everyone. So for my situation, because I don't have the pressure, I'm going to get on stage and do a bodybuilding contest, and I want to look the best I can, it's that competitiveness to do the best you can. So that's not happening. In fact, we got Thanksgiving in November, and then the Christmas holidays coming up. So I'm kind of like getting really lean and fit going into the holidays, right? So what I'm doing, here's my protein sources. And yes, I eat animal products. Have nothing against people who might be other preferences, vegetarian, a type of vegetarian or vegan, but this is what I'm eating. So a lot of times my first meal of the day is a steak. So I buy the shoulder steaks. They're fairly reasonably priced, and I don't know, I'll get maybe a 12 ounce, maybe 10 ounce, sometimes it's small 8 ounce, but I'll get a pretty good size steak, right? A good medium steak, and I will cook it up to medium well to medium rare, and I just season it. That's that seasonal type salt you can buy at HEB. For those of you who don't know what HEB is, that's a grocery store here in Texas. So I buy seasonal type of seasoning salt. So I season the steak, cook it in an cast iron skillet. I only cook on cast iron. That's it. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce while it's cooking, and then more Worcestershire sauce afterwards. That's it. That's my first meal. And this first meal, by the way, may be at 10 a.m. It might be between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. Most of the time, I do not eat breakfast as far as like an early meal. My schedule and routine, I wake up at 3:45 a.m. so I can have plenty of time to clean up, do hygiene, put my gym clothes on, and then drive into the city to be at the gym that I train at on time. So when it opens at 5 a.m., I'm right there on time, and I work out between 5 a.m., 6 a.m., my hour, drive home, do my other business and things I need to do, and then I start working at 7:15. So a lot of times I just don't eat breakfast. It's not required. A lot of people don't eat breakfast. They know about this. It's not always a meal you have to have. So I'll just skip breakfast most of the time. Sometimes I might want something on a day off, and that's fine. But I don't eat breakfast. I just maybe drink a coffee, no sugar, creamer, black coffee, hydrate with some water, and that's it. I'm good to go. And then my first meal, like I said, it might be 10 a.m. I might wait till 11 or 12 p.m. noon, right? Like typical noontime lunchtime. So essentially, by the time I eat my first meal, if it's at 10 a.m., that's 17 hours that I haven't eaten, because I do not eat past 5 p.m. So 17 hours. If I wait to 12 p.m. because it's just the way my day's going, then yeah, it's 19 hours that I had a time restricted, I guess, fasting, if you will, that I did not eat. I feel fine. My energy's great. So these are when my first meals will occur. So what about my second meal? Second meal is pretty straightforward. It may be a chicken breast. I may incorporate some green beans, broccoli, squash, something like that. I might do a little olives, right? Nothing wrong with little olives. And those would be something that I'd incorporate, maybe with a salad. And if it's a day where I'm going to allow myself to take in a complex carbohydrate, it's going to be a small portion of rice, maybe three-quarters of a cup, maybe a full cup, depends on the situation with what's going on. And yeah, I might have a medium-sized or a medium-sized sweet potato. These are my preferred complex carbohydrates when I'm on a diet. Sweet potato is less starchy, but it still is a complex carbohydrate. It's good for athletes training, but it also is a very nutrient-dense vegetable. I believe it's the #1. It has a more electrolytes in it than pretty much like bananas are, they say have potassium for banana, but you know what? A sweet potato has way more potassium. So I get electrolytes, other minerals. I get a lot of my vitamins when I eat a sweet potato. So that'll be the one. It's my go-to one. And like I said earlier, I'm comfortable with eating a bunch of the same things over and over again throughout the week, but I can be creative. I might, if one of the meals is going to be lean ground turkey, I will stuff a red bell pepper with lean ground turkey, put it in the oven and bake it. And so that's something that can be nice to eat, and you can put seasoning, etc. So my 3 p.m. meal could be something as simple as that. My meal, no later than 5 p.m. Or maybe between 4:30 and 5 p.m. if I'm going to eat it, which I will eat again, depending on my appetite, how hungry I am. It may be a very small meal, small portion, or maybe it's a bit more in terms of calories or a larger size type of portions. So yeah, that's going to be probably something, maybe cottage cheese, little bit of pineapples with that. I eat pineapples, whole pineapples, cut them up. I don't buy them from a can. It's a whole pineapple and I cut it up. So a little bit of cottage cheese, pineapples. I might incorporate again, maybe another protein source from either fish, maybe it's turkey, and maybe a little bit of chicken again. Yeah, throw in a salad. Why not? Boom, I'm done. So there's a lot of combinations, examples of meals that you're going to be able to make from either egg whites, lean ground turkey, fish, and steak, beef, right? From a cow. So you can be creative with these things. Use your imagination. So it's not like I cook it the exact same way every time. A lot of times I might, because to me it's no big deal. But yeah, I can be creative and have some variety with how I combine these different foods I eat. So for me, what helps me be successful is I keep it simple. It's not complicated. If I want to eat a freaking steak, I'm going to eat one, but it'll be one per day. And maybe the next day I don't have a steak, but I definitely can have those steaks. I've really appreciated a good steak now that I'm getting older. So there's this way of what I'm doing that's working for me. Can I have a flexible meal? Not a cheat meal. I don't prefer the word cheat meal. I prefer flexible meal. Cheat implies you're doing something wrong, which promotes an antagonistic relationship with food. So I don't have an antagonistic relationship with food. I have a healthy relationship. So I just simply think of it as it's Saturday. And on Saturday, if I want to have a freaking double meat with cheese, with bacon, jalapenos, all the way with mayo in it included too, Whataburger, I'm going to have one. I will have one. Just the burger, by the way. I won't do the fries. And just drink water. I don't do shakes or sodas, Cokes. I haven't had a soda probably in almost 20 years now, right? I drink tea, unsweetened tea, coffee, water, other beverages that maybe have maybe artificial sweetener like Splenda in it or something can be fine. So you get the idea. So this is something that I'm doing. It's working, and I am getting leaner. You saw earlier in the video, my abs are starting to show again. Am I as shredded as I can get for a contest? Yeah, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm not in a big hurry. It's not like I have a date where I must be a certain type of leanness. So that's what feels nice about this. Not that it can't be fun training for a contest. It can. The journey is an experience, can be rewarding. But for where I'm at right now, it's essentially what I'm doing. It's just my casual, good enough, common sense, no overthinking freaking diet. There is something to be said about certain individuals in the beginning to learn and understand about calories, what the kilocalories and just the amount of energy that's required that you have to expend to burn a certain amount of calories. And then not only that, understanding that it's about nutrient density and that calorie ratio, right? Or just in terms of low calorie, nutrient dense foods is what I'm trying to say here. So you can get plenty of food nutrition on a low calorie diet. A lot of times people confuse this. They think less food by itself equals low calories, and not necessarily. If you buy a muffin can be 900,000 calories easy. It's processed, refined type of a carbohydrate, flour. It's not good for you, spikes your insulin, poor to little, if any, nutritional value. Versus you could have a large bowl of chicken soup. In South Texas, we call that chicken caldo. If you go to a Mexican food restaurant, that large bowl of chicken soup might be 550 calories. Very nutrient dense. It has volume. It fills you up. Plenty of protein, other vitamins, minerals in there, and yeah, some fats as well. So you get the idea. Plenty of food you can have. So for my situation, because of my history of understanding calories and energy balance and how to adjust it for my goals, I don't really have to count anymore. I can pretty much just eyeball it, the portion, and I know what's going to do the trick. If you're someone who's just starting out, maybe someone who has a lot more weight to lose, then yeah, you maybe want to start perhaps just for a while, practicing knowing how many calories are in a particular food product. How many calories may be in a large chicken breast, medium-sized chicken breast? How many calories might be in a steak? How many calories are in a cup of cottage cheese? You get the idea. You just do this to start getting the understanding and the awareness of it. It kind of gets you to focus and understand the relationship between energy balance, caloric intake, and of course, there's things like how you manage the macronutrients, fats, carbohydrates, proteins, ratios. A lot can be said about that, and depending on what your goal is, you're going to adjust things. For me, it's pretty straightforward. If I want to get lean and ripped, reduce my body fat, I'm going to pull the carbohydrate down. That's it. Very simple. Limit the carbohydrate. I typically take in enough protein and fats to begin with, so I don't really have to change that much. I'm pretty consistent throughout the year. I take in enough protein and fats. So what this creates is the higher ratio, protein and fats, to my carb ratio. And then for me, I probably restrict calories anywhere between 500 to maybe 1,000 a day based on what I was eating before. So to give you some context. So when I'm just, having a good, maybe a little more relaxed during the year, yeah, I might be eating a bit more than I really need. And we don't need as many calories as you really think to maintain a certain size. So let's say, for example, I was typically allowing myself 3,500 calories a day, maybe 3,000 calories on a particular day. So now I'd be making sure I'm not going over 2,000, right? And I might even, on purpose, on certain days, keep it at 1,800 calories on purpose. That way it forces my body, as a result of this daily deficit, to burn more excess fat stores, body fats, right? Because the body is needing that energy during the day to keep you going. So yeah, that's what's going to happen when you create a deficit. So there's a lot to be said about that. So my diet's not complicated. I will have some flexibility. I am going to have a slice of pizza if I want it, cheeseburger, plate of Chinese food, but it'll be on a Saturday and early in the day, like around noontime, right? And it'll be just that meal only, by the way. It's not like I'm going to do this the whole day and go crazy. So when I have the flexible meal, then the rest of the day, I'll make adjustments depending on what I ate. So right now, I think for 6.5 weeks from where I started to where I'm at right now, you tell me, what's your opinion? You think it's not too shabby for a 52-year-old man? So I would encourage everybody to focus on your situation. We are all different. We all have strengths and weaknesses as far as certain things. My situation, my antidote is for myself, and I get it. Other people may need to approach their situation differently because of where you're at. Now, when I have been overweight, fat relative to my bone structure and my frame, I'm barely 5'8" tall, medium bone structure. My wrists are 7 inches, measurement around my wrist are 7 inches, medium bone structure. So for me, it doesn't take as much weight as compared to another person to appear overweight and fat or obese, right? So some men are kind of funny, man. We can have the muscles showing, shoulders can look good in a tank top, but under that tank top, you can have a pooch going on, man. You're starting to get the beer belly, if you will. So in the gym, yeah, when I did my baseline video and photo, people wouldn't think I was somebody who's fat. They would, oh, you're in good shape and you look good in that tank top. Well, because they can't see under the tank top when I'm relaxed and I just let my stomach hang out, right? So this is a threshold based on my standards. It is what it is. Everyone can have theirs. Perhaps somebody has just always been a bigger person. They do the best they can. So maybe their threshold is going to be different and look different, and that's fine. Perhaps their threshold is, for me, when I weigh 225 pounds or 230 pounds, that's better because I can run marathons, 5Ks. I'm able to hike and ride my bike. I can swim better. I have energy. I have strength versus when I was 265, 285, or maybe 300 pounds, right? Is this a person who necessarily needs to be able to prove they can be a 5% body fat for a little bit, maybe for a vacation, or do they even care about competing in a bodybuilding contest? They do not need to, and it doesn't matter. We're all different as far as what is within our possibility for our genetics, our potential, and the expression of our physicality. It is what it is. So whoever you are, whatever your relative threshold is, I would encourage you to get one in terms of contrasting that to what is your preferred level of fitness that you can have. So whatever that is, know what it is. Do the best you can to stay as close as you can to it for the rest of your life, and I think you're going to do great. So anyways, I may have forgot to say a few things today. On a finishing note, I want to say I've mentioned before, I had strained my calves, both of them. I've never had issues with my calves until of recent in my 50s. And so I've learned a lot. I'm gonna probably maybe do a video later on about the type of shoes you wear. Your heel drop to toe angle can make a big difference in terms of how hard that calf works, eccentrically and concentrically, the lengthening and contracting of the muscle. Things that I've done before in the past, but I'm doing it more now, making sure to do the calf strengthening exercises specific for runners, certain types of stretching, isometrics, things like that. What about stretching my hamstrings, right? That's a big part of it too. Everything's connected. So a lot of things you take for granted when you're younger because you don't have to, the power of your youth, you get away with more. So as you get older and things can start changing, as a result of the necessity, at least in my case, I'm intentional. I go learn, hey, what's going on here? What can I do to fix this, right? So now as a man in my 50s, I find myself learning more about prevention and maintenance of keeping my calves strong, making sure to stay consistent with stretching, because everything systemically goes together. When I stretch my calves and I stretch my hamstrings, that's helping my lower back, right? All these things. So it's a bit more salient now as a person in my 50s and maybe in my 20s or 30s, when you're just a bit more resilient. It is what it is. So I don't want to go on all day long. Thank you for watching. If you find this a bit helpful, interesting, inspiring, perhaps to think of your own situation, I'd really appreciate it if you could like my video, subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me, and have a good day. Thank you.